Welcome back to Kamen Rider Review, episode number 32. This one's discussing episodes 7 through 10. And yeah, it definitely does look like I'm covering more episodes today because of, getting out of work early today. Yeah, I got off work early today due to having too many people at work, so they allowed me to go home early today. I'm hoping it doesn't happen every day, so there's that. So, in the case of this particular review, I am discussing episodes 7 through 10, which is kind of a good thing too, because 7 basically is a standalone episode where, get this, okay, so basically 7 is, let's see if I can find it here, here we go. Yeah, it basically features the motto is basically Icarus, a birdman. The story of this one is, forcing 24 kids to commit suicide by trying to convince them they can fly. Yeah, that's really the whole point of this one, and it's the last one without basically a general popping up. But then in the next episode, we have debut Apollo Jess. He doesn't say anything. You see him as monster form. You don't see him as, human form until like the very next episode. In the case of episode 8, this one, the monster's one is Atlas. And because it's Atlas, his gimmick is basically throwing on giant rocks shaped like freaking globes. Yep, all just to stop an energy survey team. That's really the whole point of this at all. And aside from the fact that we have this going on, we also have the abrupt conclusion to these Rico and Kaneko story arc that have been going on since episode 1. Yeah, this I thought was kind of odd. It's like, they're just basically, Kiriko's living in the mountains. She convinces, Jun. By the way, it's revealed that Rico, the woman who betrayed him back in episode 1, apparently, despite the fact they said he was his lover, and then here it's like, they apparently were engaged. And I look at a girl's like, really? You were engaged? And I'm like, really? Yeah, I thought basically this is kind of stupid. Like, first they say this one was his lover at some point. Yeah, the writing of this is confusing, to say the least, when it comes to Rico. Then, of course, basically the woman, then have Kiriko just getting shot by arrows completely random. Yeah, let's kill off a character who barely has done anything in the whole series overall. Oh yeah, and then of course we have Rico herself get killed off. And it's revealed that she's in fact a cyborg and an agent of Interpol. Yes, we revealed this episode 8. And she gets shot and she also self-destructs. Because the government of darkness transformed her into a freaking cyborg. Yeah, I'm not really sure. This I thought was kind of a very stupid, abrupt conclusion to the story arc. Like, it felt as though, that there was something planning more, but maybe the ratings started to slip early on in this series. Maybe they said to cut it because of that, so maybe also because the actresses probably wanted to leave the series, probably because they were having terrible experience on the set. I mean, if you think about it, these two are barely featured in the whole episode. Like, the most you get of these two women is, like, a brief interaction. And you have this whole time of, let's have basically Rico, she betrayed him, where he's at him. She runs away every time she sees Jen, does not stop talking to him at all. Nope, does not chat with him at all. Not until her final episode. Kira says, please wait. We got that for 6 straight freaking episodes. And then finally episode 7, they're sisters. Yes, seriously. And it was so obvious these two are sisters, just because they have very similar appearances. And top of all of that, they're freaking twins. And Rico's the older sister. I'm like, wow, point out the obvious. Yeah, so, okay. They look very similar. Because they're sisters, and they're twins. Yeah. Now, at least the one thing there's a good blessing of this particular thing. At least these characters won't drop any resolution to their character, because that was a problem with the original Kamen Rider series. Women just showed up in the series, and then at a certain point they're just dropped for no explanation. Yeah, they're there for like a brief period of time, and then they're gone after like a dozen so episodes. They had like one woman after basically the second Kamen Rider showed up, where she appeared on and off until like the final episode. And then by the time, here's the thing, by the time the thing wrapped up, like aside from Tabata and the two Kamen Riders, everybody else appeared in that thing. Any women, any like little kids, they're dropped. Yeah, they never show up ever again. Not even the FBI agent, he doesn't show up ever again in the series. And V3 didn't have exactly the same problem. And one thing you at least got to appreciate with V3, they basically didn't have many women show up in the series. I think they had like one or two the whole series. Now, in case you're curious though, after the sisters are killed off, do we get replacement for the two women, like replacement characters? Well, from what I've read, they only show up in episode 15, so we got a little bit of time for that. 9 and 10 are simply put a two-parter. Excuse me. Where X is basically experiencing his first loss in the series. Yes, the plot of this one is simply, we have Achilles showing up. Yes, Achilles, from Greek mythology, though he's based upon the actual Greek hero. Yeah, a Greek hero who works for bad guys. Does that make any sense to you? I mean, Atlas makes some certain sense, but Achilles? Seriously? A guy who was a Greek hero is working for the bad guys. Oh yeah, his weakness, his freaking hail. Like, so obvious. Yes. I have no problem with the character design. It's basically in line with how he's depicted in paintings. It's perfectly fine. I have no problem with his look. It's better than Atlas's look, which is just a random mosh of stuff, and they claim this is Atlas. Instead of having like basically like the Greek god. Well, not Greek god, but like the figure from Greek mythology. Yeah, and by the way, it's where Achilles and his welfare agents, that's what for the Kamen Men is, riding on roller skates with jets. For reasons. Yeah, I don't know why. Apparently this guy is fast enough to catch up with a Suzuki Jeep that's going 60 miles an hour. 60. Yep, 60 miles an hour. Now, basically what he does is that he basically fires these darts. By the way, second monster in a row basically firing something from his damn mouth. Like, last time was arrows, this time it's darts. Now, in case you're curious though, was Achilles associated with darts? Nope. That was made for this episode. At least they came with a freaking sword. Yeah, that's in line with the Greek mythology. And in the case of Atlas, him shooting arrows mouth really doesn't make any sense at all. The globe thing makes sense, but the arrows made no sense at all. It's like that one was basically there just to kill off two female characters for reasons. This one, okay, so there's a virus called the Dream Virus that makes humans into human robots, which doesn't make any sense at all. So, oh yeah, by the way, him and his succeeding monster, Prometheus, who debuts in the same episode that Achilles is killed off. I'll get to him. We have it where, and also in episode 9, we have Kamen X meeting Apollo guest for the first time. By the way, we see him in his uniform. He's a guy who wears a white suit, and he does not like. He's basically like, oh, I like to keep myself pristine. This is basically him. Takes his little thing out of his pocket. That's what he does. Yeah, the guy does not like getting so dirty in that form. He hates getting dirty. Almost imply he might be a germaphobe. Possibly, yes. Also, he's the chief of the Gamma Darkness Secret Police. And, of course, Apollo has no idea who the heck... Not Apollo. Achilles has no idea who he is. He goes, like... And oh, yeah, he's actually the... Oh, you're part of the horrible police force. Okay. Why the heck do we have a chief of police force for the Gamma Darkness problem here? They needed a general, so they basically created this guy. And appearance-wise, reminds me a lot of Dr. G, especially with the shield thing. But the guy's got a freaking shotgun. Yes. I've got a shotgun. Yes, that's a reference to Resident Evil. Yeah, I've got to throw that in there. Yeah. And by the way, he's also the first commander to actually kill one of his own monsters for being a failure. Yeah, he needed to be based on his. He needed to be incompetent. He can't make calm, rational decisions. So, by the way, one thing I also got to point out though, unlike in the previous two series when they have their leader speak, which they don't show his face but they hear his voice, this one I haven't been bringing this up at all. He appears in the form of random objects, and then they explode as soon as they finish talking to them. Unlike the previous series where he appears behind like a base, and it appears as though they have to basically like cloak the area in darkness, hence the name Government Darkness, and they simply pray to the chief commander. Now, who he is not real to episode 22. I'm not going to talk about that until then. Yep. So, we have it where, yeah, Achilles is shot in his heel, and then he explodes. Yeah, he explodes. And then immediately right afterwards, Prometheus shows up. Doesn't, and by the way, the little girl and Tabata, who's kidnapped, they're cured. Of course, they get the virus, and of course, they, well, get cured. And then, of course, thanks to some trickery, and Prometheus, like in the case of Achilles, is completely confident as leader. So, like, haha, I captured Kamen X. And Apollo's like, you idiot. He's basically going to escape and cure everybody while you're away. Really? I'll go back and check. And it turns out, yep, he was completely right. Yeah, and then, of course, even after everybody's basically cured, and by the way, this little girl involved in this. Basically, Kamen would not be involved in this if, in fact, the little girl would not basically reach out to him about it. Yep. But eventually, Prometheus is eventually destroyed thanks to the... Now, they do debut a new move in episode 10 known as the double foot kick, which allows him to kick on the top from his head and his feet. Reference to the weakness of Achilles. But in the case of these episodes overall, like, I'd say in the case of 8, it's an okay episode, but had to kill off two women. Their deaths seem, like I said, pretty random and abrupt. 9 and 10 feel a little bit better, but wow, the monsters are so incompetent. It basically depicted here. At least Tabasi, at least he's actually depicted as more of a competent fighter than he was in V3, which gotta appreciate that. Yep. But not much I'll say about these 4 episodes. I mean, if you think overall, the only really good episodes are probably 9 and 10. Possibly, yes. 8, good, okay episode, but... 8, well, aside from debut of a new character and the deaths of 2 female characters, it felt like almost like a nothing episode, but with a really cool monster. Like, so far we have really cool monsters. It's just that a lot of times a lot of these episodes are just not good, per se. And at least Tabasi, at least he's written to be completely consistent with his previous, with he's picked the previous series. But at least this time he's more depicted as more of a competent fighter than he was in the previous series. Yeah. And he's appeared a lot more on screen than he did in V3. V3, half the time, he only appeared briefly or a couple times, about 5 minutes of a whole episode. Here, he appears for a good period of time. He's with the comrade the whole time. And I do appreciate him actually having in episode 9 where he questions his... He thinks he failed, so basically he does the infantry training. Like, okay, that's really cool. I like that aspect of it. Yep. But not much to say about these 4 episodes. So that's going to be pretty much it for this particular review. Next one's going to be Harem Alive in Our World and right back to this series. Now, also, I should point out, as of right now, since episode 10, overall for Kamen X, I have 25 episodes left to go. But before I stop, only 11 left. Yep. Alright, so see you in the next video. Bye.